Welcome back. Now, the London Underground is celebrating its 150th anniversary this week. A series of Penguin books called Underground Lines is being released. A feat of Victorian engineering, the Tube has helped define the capital as we know it today. But for John Lanchester, one of the authors in the series, it is much more than simply a mode of transport.
Please stand back from the platform edge.
In 1850, London was the biggest city in the world. It had a population of 2.5 million. London had grown sharply to get to that point, and the pressures created by that growth had caused wild dreamers to begin to think of crazy solutions to its permanently jammed roads. The crazy solution they thought of was that of sticking trains in tunnels under the city. We're still living in the city the Victorians made. What, I wonder, are we doing now, which will be as essential, as useful and taken for granted any and every single day as the things they made? Perhaps that's why people go quiet on the Underground. It's the only time we experience a combination of 21st century technology, the trains, 19th century technology and vision, the network, the tunnels, and our Paleolithic deep self. A person on the Underground is experiencing the rare chance to be a 21st century Victorian shaman. She's doing something we don't value enough in the contemporary world. She's travelling in a direction we don't prize. She's going down and in, down under the ground and down into the self, into the city, into the world, into the streets, and also into herself. That, finally, is what the Tube does most and best. It takes us down and in.
And John Lanchester, the author of What We Talk About When We Talk About the Tube, is with me now, and it's talking that really I'm most interested in, because we don't talk on the Tube. Why don't we talk to each other? We're so closely packed. We could.
I'm not sure, but I think that's part of the reason, is that the space is very unusual. People have an intimate space of about a sort of arm's length around them that we stay out of in general. And in the Tube, you can't. You're quite often rammed up against each other. And it's such an unusual experience. I think that we've invented a set of rules and behaviours for this unnatural, enforced proximity.
What I liked was the idea that we go down the moving staircase, we are down onto the platform, down into this sausage, this tube. And you say, basically, we're also going down into our own souls, almost.
Well, I think you notice is that, you know, city dwellers spend quite a lot of time showing off and acting out versions of themselves. And if you're in a coffee shop, you can sort of tell who everyone is. As well, you know, yummy mummy person just come back from the gym, city boy, you know, person looking after their kids for the day, nanny, policeman. Policemen are easy to tell because they're wearing uniforms. And people sort of acting out versions of themselves, and they don't on the Underground. People's behaviour goes quieter and their body language goes inward. And there's a noticeable thing that it's really bad etiquette to be too loud on the Tube, to draw too much attention to yourself. And I think it's linked to the fact that it's actually quite unusual. It's in the way that flying is strange, being in a pressurised tube 7 miles high. There's inherently something quite odd about, you know, going through these tunnels in the dark.
Well, you almost make it sound like the technical feat that you described as being the parallel of, which is a moonshot, where, again, people in a capsule thrown out into some strange environment.
And at the start, you know, it was that far ahead. The gap between, you know, putting coal-powered steam trains through tunnels is inherently a quite, you know, risky, strange thing to do. And the Victorians were a long way ahead of anyone else. And, you know, the 19th century, they were just as interested in innovation and technology and newness as we are. But it was nearly 40 years before anyone else tried to do that. It was the Paris Metro 37 years later. So, and you know, that's the kind of technological gap between us and the Apollo landing. So, in a way, at the time, it was a kind of moonshot.
John Lanchester, thank you very much for talking with us.